I know you can hear me, but I can't hear you. Hey, I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear anything right now.
All right. Test, test, test. Can you hear me? All right. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Awesome.
Yep.
All right. I had to switch something here. And then there's my father who birthed us both. Well, mom birthed us. He was one of the factors in us being here. Hey dad.
He passed the feed.
Good evening.
Oh man.
So
I'm glad.
formal.
Right. It's all good. We understand that, we got the showman gene that he suppressed so long ago. But
Well,
we're here. What do you say that?
no, go ahead. Be careful. I just had to make sure I had to clip my nose hairs and my eyebrows and my ear hairs so I didn't embarrass you today. So
Oh, it's all good.
It,
It's all
it
love.
might help if you tilt it up a little bit. Tilt your phone up because we're looking at you at a downward angle right now. There you go.
Yeah,
There you
there it
go.
is. That's a good one.
Now
I
you
know it's
look
gonna
like
get
you
tiring probably.
okay,
thug life pose
okay.
right there.
That's what's up. All right. So today I wanted to talk about from fatherless to fatherhood and essentially just breaking the cycle. I figured, I was thinking about this subject for a while, and I was gonna get a lot of guys who were married and grew up in single parent homes, and I thought to myself, what better example, or what closer example do I have than my own father, who I've always just admired the story behind it because, especially as I get older, I realize that there are a lot of people who they just tend to do what they know from childhood, and what you have done, that is, of course, you took a path that diverged from the norm, and so I really wanted to discuss that, and what and what led you to and what led you to I mean to where you are now. Um so just to start, can you talk a little bit about how you grew up and what the circumstances were?
Oh, how I grew up. Well, as I recall, I remember once I sat down and realized that we had probably lived in probably about 12 different houses coming up.
12.
Probably about 12. I could think of, I knew 5 before I went. I guess first, I guess about 5 in elementary school. So yeah, we, I moved around quite a bit. A lot of instability. Um, because at that time my father um wasn't very responsible.
Okay.
um, and he was a, well, in his background, he was a military man and been a black man back in the growing up in the 40s and 50s from the deep south. He, he developed some baggage and life experiences, and going to the military became a drinker. Got back a kind of abusive, or tried to be abusive to mom. I can't say abusive. I can say tried to be abusive, um, because I never saw him win a fight. That's why I say that.
Yeah, that's a very common story we heard a lot growing up from grandma was that, and it's not a story you
Yeah.
hear very often, is that like women who actually got back with the guy, and I'll let you tell it, but grandma tell it too, like she got with him a bunch. Like,
Oh yeah, I remember. I guess the one time I remember when he came home drunk, spent all the money. Mom was upset, wanted to fight, and I guess that day mom really wasn't, and she took. And if you're familiar with the high heels they used to wear back in the 60s and 70s with the stilettos,
yeah.
he caught one. He caught one of heels in his head.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That sounds like grandma.
and oh yeah, you didn't mess with her. And you say something like her, that's one of the people I'm afraid of right now. And I don't care if she is 77 years old, has her challenges, she still strikes fear in me. But
Right.
right. But see, also my father also gave an example of what I did not want to be as a man and how I was going to be with my children. Um, he gave me a lot of examples I did not want to be. And I mean, most of the I'm sure all the people who did have their fathers in their life, they all had the stories and instances where 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 the father would say, "Okay, son, I'll be over there to get you," or "Daughter, I'll be there to get you," and you sit on the porch and you wait, and they never show up.
Right.
And one of the things I want to change with the it's a saying they call now, "Be here now," and that's what I wanted with my son. To meet me, I was going to be there. I was not going to be one to say, "I'm going to be there," and I don't show up. I was never going to do that to my son because I know how it
Right.
felt to me. It's devastating, and you always want your children to respect you and honor you, and doing things like that is a way to lose. And
That's
the things the things that went on in my life coming up and seeing seeing him and the things he did, I won't talk. But one of the biggest ones was when I was 14 years old and went out of town, and he went to a place, told me one thing, and as I got older, I realized it was something different, and it was a very devastating thing where I said that I didn't have much respect for him anymore, and
okay.
seeing seeing my friends come up too, and you having your friends and their fathers are doing things together that they probably shouldn't be doing. Having a drink is one thing, bar is another thing, but doing things with women, with your son, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I saw those things, and I was like, I always want my sons to respect me. I never ever bring my son into a situation like that. And then I mean that I've seen those things. It's just yeah, and to see one of my buddies actually tell his dad, he made he tried to chastise him, and then he responded, "Dad, there's been times me and you have had the same woman, and you're gonna try to tell me it's not okay, not it's not you want to be my father, my dad." it doesn't work
Yeah.
that way. And I said, and it made me realize that there's got to be some separation in
Yeah.
what you do with your children.
Right.
So it's been a lot of things that I've seen and things I did not want for my children. As you know yourselves, I have to say this one too. One of the things that parents always tell their children is you don't have to do what your friends do. And I
Hmm.
forget. Do you guys remember the incident where I went to a friend's house and we came home and your mother was angry and upset because you guys smell like weed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And and when the house, we left the house after that day. I told them when when we left my friends, I asked you. I said, "Did you see them passing anything?" And you said, "No, they didn't." And that was an example of you don't have to do what your friends do. Your real friends don't care what you do. And that was the example I wanted to show. And I hope that it did take hold. And because I don't, both my sons are not followers. They a little bit both are rebels in their own right. I guess that comes from dad too, but
And grandma.
so,
All right.
oh yeah. But now I just want to bring up some very independent, um, right thinking people. And as you know, I don't want you guys to be thinking like me. I just want you to be yourselves. I've never wanted you to do anything. Even when it came to the baseball, I backed off one year, and then after that backed off that one year, you guys found your own baseball team. So it wasn't about me; it was about you.
Yeah.
So
So
You know, it was always a
so
small part of me that wished you didn't back off, but that's another conversation.
yeah. That's so what was so when you were growing up, did you did you aspire to be married and have kids, or was that something that you were like afraid of because of what you had experienced?
no, I didn't. Really, I didn't even. At one point, I didn't want children. Particularly wanting your children. Then I didn't think I was going to meet anybody I wanted to be with, but your mom, and she had a lot of characteristics that I thought that I felt that I needed that would help me grow and help me move on and be the person I could be. Some people can grow with, and some people you can't. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many. I mean, there were so many things that she had going for herself that really was saying, "Hey, this is her." And then when you get married, you want to, okay, you want to multiply.
Right.
So I felt I had something I could offer to a child, to my child. But it wasn't my goal in
Okay.
the beginning. The first at the point I didn't want to do it.
Right. So um Mel, do you have something? Or
Yeah,
so
bro.
what was so what did you do to okay. So I'm pretty sure like when you did get married and had kids, there were some challenges that you experienced because like I said, most people just they do what's familiar to them in childhood. Um and I mean you've been married for 30 what am I 31 so 35 years like
Yeah.
anniversary a couple weeks ago like that couldn't have been easy so like what kind of challenges did you face personally and how did you overcome those?
You mean personal challenges during marriage, or well,
Well
we all
like
face challenges in marriage.
yeah in the sense of like you didn't really see it happen successfully so what did you do to kind of guess put yourself on the right track?
Well, one of the things kind of strange when we were younger, we would friends of mine. guys who are still my friends now, we talk about how we would be with our children and what we would do because most of us, our fathers were absent.
Right.
And today I can say that of the guys who I came up with, the men I came up with, very active in their children's lives. They all married their wives and they're all active in their children's lives. They're there because our fathers weren't really there for us. Um, One of the things that make help me too is if you guys would something I put in you too is that don't quit.
Yeah.
Because once you quit one thing, it's easy to quit something else. I mean, there comes a time when maybe you have to say, "Hey, I got to leave this for my own sanity." But I've never had this situation with my wife. I'm I'm very I'm very grateful for her because there are times that she probably decides she'll hit with me, but
Right.
it was a matter of not quitting and understand a common goal. And you got to
Yeah.
persevere. I always say, life, marriage is just like life. There's highs and lows. There's ups and downs. You're gonna have good days. You're gonna have bad days. And let's hope you have more good days than bad days. So. But you
Yeah.
just can't. It's hard. You just can't quit. You just have to persevere and realize that as much as you may somebody else may be bad or not as good as you think they should be, you gotta look at yourself too and ask, okay, where am I at? Am I, because none of us are perfect. You can sit there and talk all you want to, but none of us are perfect.
Right.
So,
Okay. I got a question here. This is from. It's not popping up on this thing, but Isaiah asks, "How old were you when your parents finally decided to have kids?" Let's see. So when I was born, you were what? 31? I mean 29?
yeah. You were born in, I was 29 when you were born.
Okay. And mom was 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
6.
And here, the thing is,
Well,
26.
we
25.
were married, we were married 3 years before you were born. And that was a
Right.
chance for us to know each other, to enjoy something before the children came, because after the children come, life gets gets a lot different.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
sure.
similarly, me and Terry were together for 3 years. Was it 3 years? 2 years actually before we got married, and then before we had Journey, it was 2 years in between that as well. So
Yeah, I think a lot of times
Yeah.
people kind of
So
they jump at it and they kind of miss out on some things because they move so fast.
yeah, they been able to go to Vegas and have a lot of vacations on cruises and those things before children are born. It makes it easier. I mean, then you can. I mean, but some people get married and right away they have children and it's like a lockdown. You really can't enjoy yourself. I mean, enjoy your
Right.
child, but it's hard to enjoy each other if you don't if you with that. Yeah, it's difficult. You got to get to know each other before they go. That's for sure.
Okay. And I guess there's a follow-up question to that one is do you think having that time before children contributed to the longevity in your marriage?
I believe it does. It's I said before you get to know each other. You get to treat each other. Um, you'll have your fun. You had some fun before the children, and you'll have some fun when the children or could get to a certain age. Some people like to have children early, and they really don't really enjoy themselves like they should or like they could have. Um, life is life is hard, and when you get children, it's even harder.
Yeah, that's what's up. So when you were going through these things, not having your father around. I mean, because your dad passed away when you were what, 14?
Well, yeah, 14.
So without
But
having,
keep
go ahead.
well keep in mind that like mom left when I was about 7, and we didn't have a whole lot of interaction between then until he when it took me to meet my grandfather, who had a very little time with me, but had a major impact in some of the things that I do and say and how I handle myself.
Hmm. Yeah, it's essential to get that male guidance, especially, or that male like role model, especially if it comes from your family. So when you were going through and being a dad, and I mean being married first and then becoming a dad, without having your own father for guidance, like what did you turn to for guidance or help or mentorship?
Well, like I said, I've always been around real men,
Right.
and there were things that and one of the biggest things with me because I want to provide my sons with the things that I didn't have, and that's not the material things. Those are the emotional things, physical, the experience, the things I didn't have. My dad never took me to a baseball game.
Mm-hmm.
My dad never took me to an amusement park. I don't remember. Well, like I said, I don't remember being hugged by my dad, my father. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I don't. The biggest thing that he helped me was when he took me to Indianapolis to meet my grandfather, and then from then we went down to Spartanburg, South Carolina, and I met my grandfather and my great grandmother. She was 104 years old when I met her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was too bad. No way. I had a camera at the time because that was 5 generations.
Yeah.
So, but that was a great thing ever did for me because I got to meet them and get some wisdom from my grandfather.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you say that you don't remember hugging your dad, because I didn't really think about this until very recently, um because I've been so interested in like male studies and recovering the black family. But you know every morning before school or before you would go to work, you would make sure that you came in and kissed us on the forehead, like even when we were asleep, or like even if we were up, like you made sure to show us that affection. And so it's very really it tells me a lot that you didn't get to see that from your dad, or get that from your dad, but you made sure to give it to us. And I think a lot of people, well, a lot of right-minded people anyway, would say that they wanted to give their kids things that they didn't have. So that was a really, it says a lot to me, actually. I got teared up a little bit.
Yeah, me too. You know what you said about the hugging? Probably about 3 years ago, I'm at church and I'm watching my brother-in-law and his father actually hug, and I had to leave the room because I started tearing up because I never had that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Wow.
Still bothers me
Yeah.
now. So
This is the
I'm not
this is
embarrassing you, am I?
Oh no, not at all, man. I think
Okay.
one of the things that I think, we really don't have issues with, um, either be it descendants from you or from whatever, for generational or whatever, is that we don't really have that issue with our emotions like that. Like we don't really, because for us it doesn't take away from our manhood, because we didn't have, a lot of people will tell those stories of their dads who, like, he didn't say I love you, or he didn't show me any affection, but like we got that from you, and we kind of learned along the way that um that wasn't it wasn't an indictment on our manhood to show some kind of emotion.
And
You may
that helps like when it comes to like just developing other male friends too. Because you notice you see a lot of red flags when you're surrounded, if you're surrounded by men who are afraid to show those type of emotions and things like that. And because we had that example, it's like, you just appreciate it more when you have dudes you can walk up to, and I'm saying, like, you dap them up, but when you dap them up and you throw that hug in there, it just lets you know it's a different type of like type it's a different type of love. I really can't find the words for it, but it's just a different
Yeah.
type of love as men, and like it's okay,
Yeah.
like, and
Right.
not only is it okay, like it's more than okay.
Yeah. It should
It
be
should be
somewhat normal, you
yeah.
know. It's healthy.
Yeah.
Was
I
there
think it made me think about I think about one of the emotional things, like you said, friends. Okay, I coach baseball. You guys know Norm. Okay, Coach Norm Taylor, who I
shout
went to
out to
coach
Coach
with
Nora?
after Ramil graduated. After Ramil graduated, I went. He called a year. He waited a year and asked me again, come and coach with him, and that made me, a guy who's been around the country with national championships, and he's won. He's asked me to come coach with him, which was amazing. But and as a coach with him, um, at the high school, at King High School, we didn't when we came close to the championship, probably between 2010 and now, we always finished runner up with the championship, probably 2010, probably 7 or 8 of those years. And then one day we took a travel team down to Birmingham, Alabama, and won the championship.
Hmm.
And to see both of us in tears, happy we finally got one. We finally got one. And then his wife comes out there. She says, "Ron, that's just it." She said, "I expect that from him, but not you." We were both crying. Tears of joy.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if people don't know you, like, uh, the reputation. I never forget this because when you were on the school board, um, I got the chance to meet one of my classmates' father, Anthony Adams, and he came up to me. He referred to you as the quiet storm. Because
Oh,
he was like, your dad's quiet. He's like, your dad's very quiet and very like stoic, but like he gets stuff done. And when he does speak, it resonates throughout the room and people listen, you know.
yeah, yeah, I've heard that, and it's really something to hear that from people. Yeah, I've heard that. It, it is what it is.
Right.
I don't have a whole lot to
Uh
say, but what I do,
yeah. Which is why I had thought about this a while ago. Well, not a while ago, but a couple weeks ago, when I was like, think about the topic and for what I wanted to talk about, and I was like, I want to ask my dad, but I know he's like kind of quiet. I know, he's not necessarily into like putting himself out there. I was like, but this is it's a kind of a good story to tell because you don't get it too much in our community. Especially because I mean, we can go down the resume of things that you have done throughout the years that I mean was an example for both of us, and then also people throughout the community, everything from community activism to the politics. you know it's not something that you see every day, but I'm glad that you're willing to speak about it from here. um let's see, I got a couple of questions here actually,
oh,
so go ahead.
before you say that, I'm sorry. Shout, shout out to Anthony Adams, who's running for mayor of city of Detroit too.
Okay, I did
Yeah,
not know he was running for mayor.
I saw his billboard on
Yeah,
94.
Okay. What are some trait skills you'd say a man needs to have to before getting married or before having children while you're married? So, what are some things that got some men need to, I guess, some traits that men need to have before they take those milestones?
patience is a big one. Understanding,
Yeah.
uh, patience, understanding are real big. Um, how do you say charity? Charity because you have to give of yourself. You have to be giving. You can't be a taker. Um,
That's real.
one of the biggest things I realize with a lot of men who get married, once they have children, they tend to get jealous of the children because they lose the attention and the affection a wife would usually give to them. Now they give it to the baby, and they
Hmm.
give it not as much. And I told myself be, that I understood that baby comes first, and that you never don't get jealous of your child. That's your child. That's your child and her child. And if you want the affection from her, you also have to give of yourself so you can get that affection and that time. So if you
Yeah.
sit there and they want to sit there, yeah, okay, she washes the dishes. Okay, let me see. She washes dishes. She cooks the food. She washes the clothes. She cleans the house. She goes to work and cares for the baby. And then you wonder why she's tired when she gets to you.
Yeah.
Yep. And what's crazy is like a lot of those things, like even though you're saying it right now, just because of the kind of example that I saw before me, it was just kind of stuff that came natural to me. Like I knew that I was gonna have to be extremely patient. I knew that I was gonna have to be willing to give of myself and sacrifice of myself with all of those things. So while it's really never an explicit conversation that we've had, it's just always something that I've tried to embody. And like just being a new father now to a 2 year old and being married for going on 6 years, like
Dude, it's
all
been
of
that
the
long.
things, yeah, all of the things like that he is saying, like I said, never had the explicit conversation, but he's always shown by example.
Yeah.
And that's literally like all I've known. Especially like he was talking about before, all of the baseball coaches and men that he surrounded us with. Like that was all I saw. So it was
Yeah.
like I knew that there was a standard when it came, to being a father, to being a husband, like because the,
Yeah.
the example was set before.
Yeah, and that was something I noticed too. Is just thinking back on it, like I never really knew any like dirtbag men. You know what I mean? Like every man that we were surrounded by, more or less, was like straight up, took care of business, loved their kids, provided and did all that stuff. I mean, even if they weren't necessarily there all the time, when they were there, it was all love, it was all affection, and everything else. So it's a good example. uh Good examples in front of us. I mean, I'm not married for whatever reason, but I mean, whatever that reason may be, I'm just not there yet. But you know, I it really laid out a framework for me and like how I wanted to operate and see myself. Like I was asked on a date a few weeks ago how I felt about gender roles, and I was like, well, my dad did laundry when I grew up, so like I have no problem sharing the load, you know.
Did laundry, he cooked, went to Target every Sunday to pick up
Right.
stuff, like and still does. So it's the same thing. I don't mind doing it because that's what I saw. I saw my dad do it.
Yeah. It's there is no like me sitting, the idea of me sitting down in a chair and just watching stuff all day just doesn't resonate because like you were always busy.
Yeah.
Like it was always something being done, like out the house, whether it be, lodge meetings, work, you know, whatever you had to do, you were doing it. And that was just a really good example for what, being a man and being active and being busy and making sure that you doing your work too. Um,
Yeah,
Got a question here. What traits do you as a father hope to pass on to your children who are future or already fathers? So like what did you hope to pass on to us? I guess like you mentioned earlier, maybe that you didn't get.
yeah. That's just it. Just be a dad. Just be a dad to your child. I mean,
Yeah.
anybody. I mean, people can father a child, but it takes a very special person to be a dad.
Yeah.
It's just. I mean, I've. Some people don't want to be around their parents. Some people just don't. And I
Facts.
never want that to be the case with mine. Is just show love and show this care, affection. Be patient. Don't be judgmental. If they ask you a question, just be truthful with them. Let them know it's truth coming from love.
Yeah.
There are a lot of times that my sons may do something that I don't agree with, but I don't tell them because those are their minute and they make their own decisions.
Yeah,
And I'm not trying to have clones. I don't want a clone of me. I want you to be better than me.
that's real, and that's something that I think this kind of comes up when I have the sequels conversation. Like when women ask me, like, do you want to name your son after yourself? I'm like, yeah, why not? And they're like, don't you want him to have his own identity? I'm like, he will, you know, because I mean, I'm named after you, but I never felt like I had to be you. You know what I'm saying? I never felt
Right.
like I'm kind of like following in your footsteps, but I never felt like I was filling your shoes. You know what I mean? I still have my own identity. Um,
And that's what
I
I
got
want for
another
both of you.
right. I got
Go ahead.
another question here. I got another question here. You sent me a link the other day regarding this dude and another dude, but one of the followers asked, "What are your thoughts on Kevin Samuel?"
I watch a little bit of Kevin Samuels, and uh,
Trying
Yeah,
to choose his words very
you trying to
carefully.
be careful with your words. Just say what you gotta say, man.
he's amusing to me, but it's also um, women say things with him that they say things and don't think about what they're saying. And like I like the one where he asked them, "What do you give your, or how do you rate yourself?" And she'll say 7, and say, "Oh, so you're average." I didn't say I was average. Well, 7 is average. And
Yeah,
and um, and talking about how she wants certain things out of a man, and he told her that well, the men that you're talking about are in their 50s and you're 60, and how old are you? Oh, you're 35. Are you willing to do that? And oh no, well, you gotta tone it down a little bit about what you want. Be realistic. And some of that stuff is right on.
yeah,
But I guess the way he does it to women, it upsets them. But when you put yourself out there like that, and a lot of them have been brought up and raised a certain way, and they cause their well, some of the things they say they cause their own problems because I listen to what they're saying. I'm like, okay, who told you that? Who told you that that's the key to success? Who told you that you have to have a man who does that and who does that? Why? I mean, but that's that talk that the people have, and
yeah,
they put it out there, and they know he's going to come after them. So why just speak from the heart? Just tell him the truth about yourself, not not what you think's going to get you a pass.
yeah. I think,
Kevin
I
said,
think,
yeah,
I think part of that too is just like, um, and I think it seems a little ridiculous to us because we were kind of grounded because we had both parents and we kind of had a realistic idea of what it was gonna look like or what it would look like when we got the person we wanted. But a lot of these people, they don't have that, so they have to make up this fantasy of what they want to see. Um, so they just, I guess, they really just weren't as fortunate as we were to be able to see it for themselves. Um, let's see.
I will
I
say one
know.
thing though,
Go
like
ahead.
regarding Kevin Samuels, like Dad said, there's some truth to some of what he says. I do think in a lot of ways he's a little antiquated, as far as how progressive relationships can be and gender roles and all of those things. And I know he uses that term high value man a lot, and what they expect, or if that's what a woman wants, then this is what they expect. But I also know for a fact that a lot of men really not gonna trip about a woman who may be 5'4", 200 pounds if she carries it well. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't, the fat shaming and the way he talks aggressively to certain black women, in some of his
a
episodes
certain
is kind of
period.
off-putting. But it's like when I've watched him, but I mean, adversely to that, I've watched him talk to white women, and he was not as aggressive with them. He was not
Yeah,
as disrespectful to them. He was definitely like
boy,
straightforward and blunt, but he leaned more toward the air of
I
insult when it came to a lot of black women that he
I
talked to.
got I got to show you the. Did you see the Fresh and Fit interview he did?
I
Where
didn't.
the woman name was, he called her Sable, or they called her Sable. You should see that one, and he went hard. But no, like I'm not a big fan of the fat shaming thing. And I also know too, he's speaking of like women who say they want high value men,
Mm-hmm.
like these high status men. And so he's like, look, if you want a high value man, this is what you have to be. Because there aren't too many dudes who are making a bunch of money who are like, I'm gonna take you at your size 12. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
um, but it is what it is. Let's see. Just going through my comments. Not that many comments, but more listeners than anything, which is actually pretty good. Uh,
Thank
I
you.
think this is Terry right here, loving the wisdom. Um, your dad's a real man and father. That's my homeboy Willis. Shout out to Willis, all the way
Yes,
from
sir.
Alabama. Um,
I got a question for you, Dad.
Uh-oh.
Um, if you could go back and change anything in regards to the way that you raised us, would you change anything? And if you would, what would it be?
No, I don't think I would. Ah, I think of anything like you. I think I drove you hard, but I didn't drive you as hard as I could have. I'll put it that way.
okay.
I mean,
Very true.
there.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I backed off a lot of things because I did not want to. You know, you gotta let your children grow. You gotta let them grow. You gotta let them expand. If you get too hard, then you shut them down. And I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that because I realized coming up, even in my younger years, I realized everybody would always say, "Well, you're too young. You're too young. You're too young." And I'm looking like, well, I got more brains than you do, but but I'm too young.
Yeah.
So and I always wanted to. I wanted my I wanted my sons to be brilliant. I didn't want my sons to be um, shut down or quiet, and I didn't want any regrets.
Yeah. You didn't want to like what was that it's a lot of stories of like NFL players and athletes really whose dads pushed them so hard that they ended up like having these fractured relationships because they were essentially they were great athletes, but they were very incomplete people, and their kids kind of resented them for that. But I think you allowed us to really just become complete people, like to the point where um I was actually, when it came to playing baseball in college, like one of the reasons I didn't was because I was more concerned about me as a person rather than me as an athlete, you know. And I think, I look back on it, I'm like, I miss baseball, but I think I did the right thing for myself because it helped me grow. And I think you kind of laid out the framework for that.
Oh yeah, when both you decided to hang up the cleats. Oh, I said, oh my God, they hang up the cleats. Oh boy. I said I wish they had hung up the cleats, but but it was your
Yeah.
decision to make, and I appreciate that. You know, one thing you make me think about. To talk about how I was. One kid, I don't know who it was, gave me one great compliment because when there was a time when we both were on the team and I was coaching, and one of the kids said to you, I don't know who it was. Oh, that's your dad. Okay, I know your dad was the coach. And
Yeah.
that said a lot right there about I think about me as a coach and as a father because they he didn't know, and I didn't show any favoritism because of what I instilled in you outside of that baseball field. I didn't have to push it again on the field.
Facts.
True.
Facts. And I mean, even to this day, like I still hear compliments about you. Like I was telling Ramil this the other day, because I went and I was talking to Teddy on Sunday. And but we went to the batting cages a few weeks ago, but he was talking to me. He was like, "Yeah, remember when like when we were younger and our dads used to like, basically like doing like drills and stuff at home." And I looked at him, I was like, "Our dad didn't do that." but I was like, it really spoke volumes that you kind of let us just explore, and the fact that we were kind of just naturally good at what we did anyway.
Right.
But then also on also on Sunday before I saw Teddy, my friend Jameer was visiting Houston,
Oh yeah.
and he even said, like, I forgot where this came from, but he was like, "Man, your dad's a real OG." Mind you, Jameer probably ain't seen you since I was in high school.
Wait,
And
no, I
even
think Jameer went to. Wait, didn't Jameer go to North Carolina Central?
oh yeah, he did. That's right. Y'all saw him on the college tour then.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the last time I saw.
Uh,
Yeah, and I think I saw him another. Yeah, but go ahead.
and then I mean I can like keep going of like all the I always tell people like I always tell people when it comes to y'all, like people love my parents. I was like
Mhm.
my friends will come to me and be like, "Man, your dad is so cool. Like your parents are so chill." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well," like like my friend Chris, we knew each other since Paul Robeson days. Like to this day, like if Chris sees you, like I can kind of see when Chris talks to you, like he kind of lights up and he's like just willing to take it all in. Whatever you got to say, he's looking forward to it.
Mhm. That's almost how it was with everybody. Like every sports team we played for, every group we were in that ever came in contact with dad. Like it was all he always left that impact on people. And I
Yeah,
think it's just primarily because I think dad is very intentional about treating people right,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
like you just never know how treating people right, what that'll get you down the road, and that's definitely something that I've adopted. Like I might not agree with anything you or everything that you say. I might not, agree with a certain lifestyle, but I'm going to treat you right. I'm going to treat you fairly. I'm going to treat you like a human being. And I think that just leaves more of a lasting impact on people than anything else that you could do. Just treat them right.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I think I've heard one of those Joel Osteen's videos called "Making a Deposit," because you never know
Mm,
what you do to a person. I mean, you never what a you never know what a person is going through, and just to say hi, how you doing, hope you feel better to somebody, and they look at you like I don't even know that person, and they spoke to me, and
Hmm.
and you never know who you're talking to or what they're going through. So I try to,
facts.
like I said, I just try to be, like you said, be genuine toward people.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to be here. Let's see. That Alex said we admire your parents. Yeah, people definitely admire you guys. This is Isaiah. He said, "I love
Yeah.
y'all, dad." That's Unc now.
See, stuff like
Okay, I'm not
that.
supposed.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
Oh, all right. Yeah,
and then
I love
let's
it.
see. Let's see. I'm trying to make my way through this question. Um, so back to a little bit of Kevin Samuels talks about grooming and personal appearance. dress and physique, how important would you say is your appearance and grooming for men, and how has that changed as you've gotten married and more seasoned in your marriage life?
Well, grooming and is you got it's the utmost. You got to keep yourself up. You got to keep
Yeah.
yourself up. Even I'll say this. I'm going to say even when I was reminded about this call today, I said, okay, let me go to the bathroom and make sure I don't have any. Seriously, I said, make sure I have any nose hairs sticking out. Make sure I have my ear hairs. Make sure I'm okay. Make sure I'm okay. Am I clean? Okay. I
Yeah.
had to make sure of that. And one of the things is you can grow older, but you don't have to look old. I mean, you
Facts.
see guys and they're scruffy looking, their eyebrows are not trimmed, they got their nose hairs, and oh, and not.
They just let
I
it
mean,
go.
right, and like, and then they okay let go, they're not to care because I'm like I don't understand that. Like I've always told you when you were young, if I ever start to dress funny, let me know.
Okay. That's
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, I've said that if I ever
Dress
start to dress funny,
dress
please
socks
let
and
me know.
shorts day. Dress
I know,
socks and sandals and shorts.
I know. Dad knew he was doing something right when he started seeing all of his grooming products going missing when we were younger.
Oh
Using
yeah.
wave grease, taking his do rags and wave caps.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's
Hey,
something that
I had
you'll get taught. Go ahead, Dad.
I had to, my mother used to always talk about saying that. Well, they're young, and I'm like, Ma, they're not young. They're those. I said those teenagers, and they can't fit any of my clothes. What do you mean they're young? So, but I knew you were growing up. I knew you wanted to be men, and I didn't want to hold you back. I just wanted you to be able. I mean, anything you needed, I got for you because I know how important it was for your confidence that if you look good, you feel good.
I can't tell you how many times I waited until after you went to work before we went to school, and I went upstairs and I took some of your cool water cologne. Boy, I thought I was the freshest thing in Renaissance hallways, boy, with that cool water on.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
It
I
was
mean,
all good. It
shoot.
was
A little bit even to this day, because when I come home and I realize I left my aftershave on my head, I come down, I get some of yours. I'm like, I know you got it. Because
oh
and to this day, like even little stuff, like I don't know too many dudes my age who like lotion on a regular.
Yeah,
like like I make sure I keep a bottle of lotion in the house.
I
And I
got
don't
one in
think it's
the car.
right.
right. Look, at some
Oh
point I had some like hand cream in my desk at work because I was like, I can't be
hey,
ashy.
fellas, remember women don't like you when you're ashy.
That's facts.
Yeah,
Oh
That's
yeah, you be saying turn. You said, well, turn the lights out. I'm ashy. Okay, no, put some lotion on, fellas.
oh geez, not turn the lights out. Let me find out if some dudes out there trying to hit the lights because they ain't putting no lotion on. No,
Oh,
I like it with
probably
the
no, bro,
is.
lights
I'm gonna
off.
tell
I
you
like it with the lights off.
Oh, that's. I mean, I know we were going for an hour. That's something else that like we didn't. You know, I think we got at a younger age, and a lot of kids like that. That open line of communication and honesty. We've always. I mean, between you and mom for sure, we've definitely always had like that open Like I remember we used to be like remember in the condom aisle at Target talking about condoms, like just you know casually. It's nothing, and then like people
It
would
was
say like,
casual, nothing for you, but I was,
"Oh,
I was a little fidgety.
yeah." But even then, like I tell people about some of the conversations we have with our parents, and they're like, "You can talk to your parents about that." I'm like, "Yeah, you can't." you know?
it's
Even I
better to
mean,
learn
even to
from
this
us than
day,
learn from the friends in the street.
Facts.
Yeah.
Even to
Yeah.
this day, Terry is shocked at half the stuff that we say in front of y'all. She's like, I could never say that in front of my mom. I was just like, should we say some of the things we say in front of our parents? Probably not, but they don't judge us. And it's like open and free, and they allow us to be us.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
always just tell people, try it. Just try, see what happens. Just
Hey,
try it, see what
like I
happens.
told, I think one day, let's see, your mother, we were married, we were young, and we were in our 20s, and we were around some of the her aunts and uncles, and I was questioning about why would I say that to somebody, and I said, wait a minute, let me explain something. What are they doing that we don't do? I say, we both got jobs, we're buying a house, we got cars, we're paying bills. So, what? Why do I have to act like I'm not an adult because I'm around other older adults? No, I'm just be respectful. You don't have to act like you're a child. I mean, you are their child. However, you don't have to act like a child. You're an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Act like one.
for sure. For sure,
So
for
don't.
sure.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, I noticed that just recently I was observing somebody, and I was saying to myself, "Wow, now I understand why some of these parents and their children have issues because they their children come up with them as friends, and there's no
yeah,
division there." And I'm like, "That's the problem. That's
definitely
the
a huge
problem."
problem.
Right. And I see so much of it, and they wonder why they have to fuss and argue with each other on so many things. I'm like, because there's no separation. You're always together doing the same thing as friends instead of a parent and son or daughter. Yep,
Yeah,
important.
yeah. We didn't really have that like friendship, but it was definitely that it was an open line of communication that came with some guidance, something we could appreciate
Yeah.
and work with. All right. Ramil, you got any questions? Any other questions?
Not burning off top. I wasn't really prepared in that regard.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Look. I'm not gonna lie to you. Some of the things I asked, I'm like, I looked up, maybe not looked up, but wrote down maybe like 15 minutes before. Oh, we got another question coming in actually. But I also knew too that the stream of consciousness would come because we got some pretty good orators in our family. We can definitely talk. So whether we could
Among
definitely talk.
about and about a lot of subjects. A lot
Yeah,
of
I
subjects.
tell I tell people all the time I know a little bit about a lot. So like so um let's see. In the meantime, I'll just answer this question. This actually come from Mark. I see it on my Facebook group. What inspired me to start Waffle Talk? Really, it was really just a space for men to talk men and men's issues. There aren't too many safe spaces for men to discuss things that what's on their mind, and also not a place where we can talk about a lot of really like real men's issues. At first it kind of started off, of course, with talking about women, holding women accountable, yada yada yada. But um, which I still kind of do. Like that's kind of not going anywhere. But at the same time, I also know that there are just some gaps in men that we need to make up, or gaps with men that we need to make up. And I want to try to address some of those things the best I can. Um, whether it be with this little following or whatever happens in the future, because I really do believe that a lot of the issues in the Black community can be changed with the leadership and the wellness of our men. So I really wanted to get into that. So that's why.
I do have a question now. Dad, um, how did your dynamic of fatherhood change when you went from having one son to having two?
Wow.
Interesting question.
Coming from a family of, I mean, coming from a family of five, and you know your uncles and your aunts, and we got five distinct personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so I knew that um, coming with two children and husband wife, don't don't expect clones. You just got to be versatile and understand each one of them. Um, there were times when one of you needed more attention than the other person, and it's like, and I guess I had to explain to one of you the reason why that took place, and then you understood it, and you look back and say, yeah, you're right. But it didn't change. It was just a matter of just it had to multiply. I realized I had to do more to help out, and I wanted to be more. I wanted to do more because I wanted both my sons to be a part of. I, I wanted to be in their life.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be one of those distant fathers who just popped up and not be there. I just wanted to be there. Period.
Yeah. That definitely
So there's no
trickled down
change.
into yeah. That I know that attitude trickled down to me for sure. And Ramil too, because I mean, I don't have any children, but I always tell people like one of the reasons I don't is because I definitely don't want to be, sometimes dad. I know I'm gonna want to always be there. And I know when I see Ramil too, when he's posting Snapchat videos or even, when I'm at home observing, that desire to be there and that, even though he's tired, even though like when Ramil, even though he's tired, he doesn't really come off as tired when it comes to his baby girl. You know, that desire and that urge to be there just really manifests itself. Um, let's see. It's another one. What do you think are some red flags young men should look out for in a woman before getting married? That's a deep question, bro.
That's a hard one
I,
because women and men both will show you what they want you to see,
yeah.
and then yeah, and usually when the things after 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 the I do's come, then the I don'ts come. So
Now that's one I haven't heard before.
That's a good one.
That was a good one.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, but no,
let's see.
no, it's
There's another question here, but we kind of already answered it. Go ahead.
no red flags. Uh, you can also sometimes you can look at the person's family. Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah.
And yes, yeah, because if you see, say, if she's got four sisters and all the four sisters act the same, and all of a sudden yours doesn't, like okay, but they're all very close. Okay, but she doesn't act that way around you, but you never know what she acts that way when you're not around you. So you
Right.
just gotta be careful, and nobody's perfect. So red flags, talk about things prior to marriage, and I guess one of the biggest things is when they start talking about what's mine is mine, and I'm like, well, if you're not if you're not one of the Rockefellers or Gates or Johnsons, what do you mean what's yours is yours? You don't have much. Like the person say,
Facts.
okay, I don't want you in my business. Well, how much business do you have? Okay, if you try to borrow $500 from me, how much business do you have?
That's
So when
real.
they start talking about what's mine is mine and well, you don't have anything.
You know what's
Simple.
really interesting that you say that. I was talking to mom the other day, and she mentioned how one of the things that your mom actually said to her that kind of put her in a better mind space about finances. You know, grandma told her, she said, if he got 25 cents and you got a nickel, y'all got 30 cents. And
Mm,
when she said that to me, it was something that I literally took back to Terry. And I was like, look, if I got 25 cents, you got a nickel, we got 30 cents, and that's how we gotta move. And
mm,
Right.
um, it put things in perspective for me, but I could tell that when I said it, like she kind of tilted her head and looked at me like, okay. And
yeah.
so I mean that's huge. Like that whole when you're getting married or you're even in a serious relationship, like all of that me and mine stuff, you gotta bury that. Like you trade me and mine for we and ours. And it's not always easy.
Yeah.
It's not always easy to share.
No. Right.
No, that's something I definitely. I mean, again, not married, but the more I look at it, and the more I see what I want out of life and marriage and everything, I understand the combination of finances. Like, you know, when you get up, we decide to get up in front of people and witnesses, and you say like it's us now, like that's also included. You can you can make it separately, but when y'all come together, it's together because I mean, you
Right.
basically committed to living this life together, so you might as well. Uh, said going back to your once you say I do, the I don't come. Say I heard TD Jake say before marriage opposites attract, and after marriage opposites attack.
I like that.
That's good.
That's a good one.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you up. I know it's after 9 on the East Coast. I still got it's 8:18 here, so I don't want to keep y'all too long. So I know folks got jobs and work and whatnot. But I do appreciate both of y'all for coming on, Ramil. Thank you. Oh wait, let me see. Oh no, okay. I scrolled up. Thanks, Ramil, for coming on, contributing. I felt like I couldn't have this conversation without you. Because hell, you you're a son too, right?
Right, 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 right.
uh and Dad, I definitely appreciate you because I know I've always known for a long time. You again, you will get up in front of people, but it's really not your thing. Like you don't have that itch to just jump out in front of crowds. And I really appreciate that was my phone, and I really appreciate you coming and having a discussion. And I hope that somebody somewhere will see this and they'll take some gems from it. And hopefully we can work on. It takes a while to shift culture, but in my lifetime, in our lifetime, sometimes all we need is one or two to hear it, and
well,
then that can spread to other people.
okay. Before you close out, I just want to say I want to thank you for allowing me to be on the platform. I really enjoyed it. Hearing the things and complimentary to me. Um, my job now, as I get older, is to try to make things easier for those coming after me,
Yeah,
and that's my goal. So, yeah. But again, I appreciate it. I appreciate all the kind words, and thank you so much.
man, no problem. And yeah, I guess I'll talk to y'all later. I love both of you, and
Love you
I
too.
gotta make it home one of these days.
Uh,
Su-
um,
Summer's coming up.
well, I'll text you. I'll text you. We'll actually be down there in a couple weeks.
Okay,
Um,
I should. I mean, I'll be out of school at the end of May. So if it's
okay.
after then, I got all the time in the world.
I think it's gonna be like it's actually the next couple weeks, like the 24th or something like that.
Okay, last week of school.
Yeah.
But all right. All right. I do appreciate y'all, and I will talk to
Okay.
y'all later.
All right, man. Thanks for having
All
me
right.
on.
No problem.
All right.
Peace. All right. That's my brother and my dad. I love them to pieces, man. You see where I get my good looks from and everything else. And let me see if get them out the uh All right. Those are my folks. I love my folks to pieces. Um, they're really great. I hope that conversation was fruitful for somebody. I know one of my followers, Isaiah, he had a lot of questions, and I hope that he caught some gems from that. My folks have always been very, especially my dad, just very wise. Lot good heart, and always willing to help, and very optimistic, very adaptable, just very smart. See where I get it from. But yeah. So again, like I always say, this whole platform that I have now is really just for the betterment of the men in our community, the Black community. Uh the waffle aspect of it actually comes from is that on my face? Yeah. Oh, I had a pimple. The waffle aspect of it actually comes from a actually, I'll probably end up breaking down the video eventually, but there's a couple who came up with this theory called the spaghetti waffle theory, which basically said that men's brains are like waffles, women's brains are like spaghettis, and a waffle. I'm sorry, in a waffle, like there are all these different compartments, and once a man is in that compartment, he's there and he's kind of stuck. And it takes a lot to get him out of that compartment. So if he's watching a football game, you can't ask him too many questions because he's locked into the football game. Men don't do too well at multitasking. Whereas women's brains are like spaghetti, where everything's touching and connected, and they're able to multitask and do all these different things at one time. So a woman can be on the phone, be cooking dinner, and holding the baby at the same time. You know what I mean? Making sure the baby's good and pay attention. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been on the phone with women who were cleaning, cooking, doing whatever. And I stop conversation. Like, are you listening? They're like, yeah, I'm listening. And then they're still doing what they're doing, and they can repeat everything I say. So, it's really just a space for a man's brain. We're going to focus on different things, hopefully, and actually looking forward more content about improving on men in the community, bringing awareness to certain things. At the same time, I'm going to talk to women too about the things that they could do to help, or like to be a positive what's the word I'm looking for? Like a positive contributor to improving men. Because even though we are in this matriarchy in the Black America and Black women are pretty much running it, I do firmly believe that they don't really want to run it. But women want men to step up to the plate. And so not only does that mean men have to step up to the plate, but that also means too that sometimes women have to, you have to like let go a little bit. But we'll get to that, down the road. Anything nothing else for the good of the order. I will say though, subscribe at Waffle Talk on YouTube. I think this might stay on Facebook. I'm not sure. I tend to get more views on Facebook, but I'm also going to start advertising it out to other people to really push the channel, so that I can really get away from my personal Facebook page. You should add the group on Facebook. If you don't know how to find the group, you can also talk to me. I'll send you an invite. If you add Waffle Talk on Face group, you'll probably see a bunch of different Waffle Talks. But the most recent post from a page, I think, was like 2 or 3 months ago, and I think they only have a couple videos on their pages. So I'm trying to do more, and their page I hate to say it this way, but their page can become irrelevant if I get more subscribers than they do. So please go subscribe to the channel Waffle Talk. You'll see the Waffle Talk logo, the Waffle Talk branding logo. It's actually this thing right in the corner, up here. This thing right here in the corner, you'll see that logo, the Waffle Talk. There we go. You'll see the Waffle Talk logo. All the videos are on there. And what else? Let's see. Moms have to let go of their Black sons so they can step up as well. Absolutely. That old adage of what do they say? Moms raise their daughters and love their sons. There are a lot of Black women who coddle their sons, and really it stifles their growth. Actually, we probably could have talked about this too. But even in my family, I've seen where a single mother didn't like the way the coach was talking to her son, so she pulled him off the team. that's very damaging to a child, you know. So he didn't really get involved in anything else because she didn't like the way he was talking to him. It hurt her feelings, so she pulled him away. So um yeah, anything let's see. Cashapp, and the Cashapp banner is on the ticker. Fatherless to Fatherhood is the name of this episode. Like, share, subscribe to the channel. Don't You can donate as well if you like what's going on. If you want to see more, if you want to help the production of the show, by all means, donate. Get my likes up, which I probably should have championed earlier, but this really wasn't for the likes. I really do think that my father's story could be inspirational to a lot of people, especially because he wasn't one of those kids who, well, as you could probably tell, he wasn't one of those guys who um he turned out pretty well for somebody who grew up without a dad, without his father in his life. And he's average guy. He raised 2 kids to go to college. My brother's been married, like he said, 6 years, with my niece 2 years old. Me, graduated from college, been a teacher, got my head on straight, pretty, doing pretty well for myself. And you don't get that too much from men who are raised by single fathers, raised by single mothers, because most of them just follow that cycle of, my dad left, I can leave, but he made the determination to stay. He persevered, and he made sure everything was copacetic, made sure everything was copacetic for his kids. Like he said, he wanted to be there, and he didn't want to be a distant dad. So I got nothing else for the good of the order. I do appreciate everybody for coming on and joining in on the conversation. The questions, I appreciate Isaiah, Mark, Willis with the compliments, Kel chiming in. I appreciate everybody and their contributions to the show. I guess I don't have really much else to say. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for joining me. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Peace.